welcome back to Georgina Life. It's always such a wonderful thing, Grant, when on Remembrance Day, on the Remembrance Day episode, we can get to speak with a veteran. And today is no exception. We have with us Canadian Forces veteran Karin Simpson. Welcome to Georgina Life.
Thank you.
So good to see you in the flesh and not through the Zoom lens.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so nice to have you in
True.
the studio.
True.
Where to begin?
I know. Where do we begin? I mean, the stories that you have must be extraordinary. And maybe you can start kind of at the beginning. How did you become involved?
Well, you might find it surprising. I went to Unionville High School for the performing arts.
Wow.
And after I had finished my high school career, I really wanted to do something completely different. And at first I thought, maybe I should join the police force and be in the K-9 unit. And then I thought maybe I'll join the Coast Guard because I have literally grown up on the water. And then I thought, what if I combine those two things and join the Navy? So it was really just kind of on a whim. And neither of those careers, Coast Guard or the police, really reflect what happens in the military. I'd never done cadets. I didn't do any of the reserve training. I just went, signed myself up, and I was out at 18 in February. So while the rest of my high school pals were finishing up their school year, because I had gone through the arts program, I had plenty of credits to graduate, and I was like, see ya.
I'm done
That's
with this.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. We talk to veterans, and it's the same story. It's like as soon as they could, they go and they do. And that begins a career and a journey I can't even begin to imagine. So was there any fear or trepidation when you found yourself on the base, if you will?
Well, I think I had the rude awakening when I landed in Halifax. So the flight from Toronto to Halifax, everyone was on the flight. We were all, kibitzing back and forth and thinking we were off to like summer camp, essentially. I mean, maybe they knew something that I didn't, but that's kind of what I was getting the vibe about. So got off the plane and they started calling out our names and like just taking attendance, basically, right?
Yeah.
And my last name at the time was Cook, K-U-C-H.
Right.
It's German.
Yes.
So my instructor was like, Private Cooch? And I was like, oh, actually, it's pronounced Cook. Because I'm thinking to myself, I don't want 10 weeks of being called Cooch, right?
No.
Well, the next thing I knew, I had a master sergeant in my face, spit flying everywhere, telling me to give him push-ups in the
boy.
airport. So it started even before I left. So I would say I probably did about hundreds of thousands of push-ups in that 10 weeks that I was in Cornwallis.
So we've got some pictures that are coming
Yeah.
up that kind of take us through your journey.
Okay, don't
Look
judge
at
the
that.
eyebrows there, but yeah, that's 18-year-old me.
Wow.
It's a very not flattering picture, but that's kind of what, if I look back at some of the vets from the Great Wars, I mean, everybody was so young.
Young.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
I love that.
That was actually the second time I did basic training because once was just not enough for me.
Wow.
I was 22 in this picture. I joined again as a reservist, as a Mars officer, so my experience was a little bit different at that time. This is my first platoon of 44.
That's crazy.
44 strong. There were 6 women in this platoon.
That's what I was going to ask. How
Right.
many of
Yeah.
those were women? 6. Okay.
Yeah. So one of my, so this picture is funny.
I love that.
This is a Sea King helicopter. The Sea King helicopters have been replaced, thankfully. They are the helicopters that were known for kind of crashing at sea.
Right.
So they weren't safe. We had them for far too long. But as a rescue swimmer, one of the extra training pieces that I did, we used to have to jump out of those. And I have a fear of heights, and I'm also a little claustrophobic. So like jumping into shark-infested water,
No.
it was a lot.
Karen, stop.
I did it anyway.
This is great. I love that.
This is my Private Benjamin look.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I guess this one is too. So the
that's
rifle I'm
fierce.
holding there is the C7 rifle.
Okay.
Everyone in the Canadian Armed Forces is trained to operate this gun,
Okay.
to assemble, disassemble, all those competitions that you
Right.
sometimes see about putting them back together.
Right, right.
So This is a picture of me coming back from the second time I did basic training. My platoon chose me to lead our forest march. So it was quite an honor because I graduated top candidate of my class and was helping to motivate people finish a really challenging course. This was when I was in basic training the first time. It was a really challenging course. The picture, the smoke that you see there is actually like the gas that we had to wear gas masks at this time. My face was itching, even with the gas masks on. My eyes were burning. It was hard to breathe. It causes a lot of panic. And I'm a lot shorter than the person that you see at the front of that picture. I don't know if you can tell, but in the back on the right-hand side, you can see a rifle. So the way I was, where I was so short, my rifle actually kept getting caught in that cable bridge, and it was very hard to get across. Very scary.
I want to talk about the medals that you brought. Now, what specifically are they? What are they for?
So I'll start with this one just because the other two, I want to give them some time at the end. So this has the trident in the center and a couple of dolphins. This was my ship's team diver rescue swimmer course.
Okay.
That was a kind of like an additional course that I could take to get qualified outside of my trade. So while I was posted to my ships, one of the things that I was able to do was to actually go out and collect somebody who maybe had fallen overboard. But the other thing we were trained to do is to actually disassemble mines that had been placed on the ship, or if they were on the grounds and that kind of thing. So very scary stuff, and lots of failure too. For women.
Karin, I want to talk to you forever, but we're running out of time, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about Remembrance Day. What does it mean to you?
Remembrance Day, I think, is a time for people to express their gratitude for those that were willing to give up their time, their space, family, that kind of thing, to go and fight for the freedoms that we enjoy today. So my two medals that I have here is Canadian Peacekeeping Medal and a NATO medal. So when I was 19, I was patrolling the Bosnian coast, and my shipmates were there as well.
Karin, thank you so much for being here and for sharing all of this. And Georgina, don't go away. We have so much more on today's Georgina Life.